Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to be talking about another node attribute, and that is groups. Let's get started. So this is where you should be. You should have, in your init.lua, you should have a node that's being defined. Probably some more attributes down below, but that should be fairly close to what you have. Today, we're going to kind of take a step back and look at something that we had just thrown in there and hadn't really explored, which is groups. So groups, as you can see, so the purpose of groups is to group. It takes items and defines them in categories based on properties. And so, for instance, if you were making a wood block, then you would put it in the wood group and things like that. So groups has that functionality, but it also defines certain properties. So instead of having to write a bunch of code to make your node bouncy, you can just put it in the bouncy group and it inherits all of those attributes. So great. Now, where do we, one other thing. You can see here that groups is actually a table, okay? Tables have multiple values in them, right? Separated by commas. So we can assign many different groups, all right? But don't forget to add yourself a comma. So we can just go ahead and add that comma in there and then press enter, because what we're going to do is follow the same sort of format that the node attributes has, where it goes down instead of to the right. So that'll give us, it's just more readable that way. So here we are, we've got it all set up. Now, where do we go to find out what other groups are available? The Lua API, right? So let's pull that up. Now and this should have been bookmarked on your Firefox in one of the previous assignments. So it should be fairly easy to get to. If you press Control B, it'll pull up all of your bookmarks. You can click on whichever name you gave it for this page, right? So we're wanting to go here. If you don't remember, if you didn't bookmark it, then just Google Minetest Lua API or Lua Minetest API. I believe that's the exact text you need, Lua Minetest API. And the first link should be this webpage. So now over to the, over on the left here, we have our categories, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the groups category. So by clicking that, it should take us to this page, and you can read about the groups and some of the other functions and purposes of a group. One thing that I do want to draw your attention to as a precursor to another lesson is here we have another tool. Right? So Minetest.register_node, that was a tool. Here we have another tool that's being defined for us, and our attention is being directed to. And this one is specifically related to groups. So you can, with this tool, or the proper terminology is method. With this method, you're able to recall a node or items groups, and that is useful for some sort of application. All right, so we're going to scroll down. Now, it is, I'm sure, very helpful to read all of this. For instance, this is related to crafting recipes. We have a crafting recipe in our init.lua. We haven't covered crafting recipes yet, but you can assign groups in the crafting recipe. But let's scroll down a little further, and here we see special groups and node and item groups. So those are the common groups that are between node and items. And then over here we have node only groups. We don't really want to mess with this group, because that'll make it much more difficult to add the item to your inventory, because it, as the name implies, not in creative inventory, your node is not going to be listed when you pull up your available blocks. So don't do that. What we're going to do is we're going to come down here to node-only groups and just kind of peruse it, look around. So I would recommend you just read these different descriptors, and they'll explain what that group does. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to stick to the bouncy. Now, you can also use this one. As your assignment, I want you to pick 3. Or if, yeah, let's just say you pick 3. And so, for instance, if I was to pick bouncy, I would probably want to select it. And of course, read it. Value is bounce speed in percent. So if it's percent, then you would expect the number that you set bouncy to be from 0 to 100, right? So from 0 to 100. So that's just something to keep in mind after reading that description. So we're going to press Control C to copy that group. We're going to go back over to our init.lua. And then here where we have our cursor, we're just going to paste it in there. And it looks like we need to tab that. Pressing tab. Now, there's a red line because it's just like Cracky up there, we've assigned it some value because the group Cracky, there's different levels of crackiness. So in Bouncy, there are different levels, and we define the level or the intensity with an equal sign, and let's just say 50. So if I save that, don't forget to save it. Head over to Minetest. Remember, be sure to check and test your script frequently. Every little change you make, test it. So Minetest, we're gonna make sure you have your mod enabled and then play game. And get in here, we're gonna go over to our nodes that we placed. Can I fly? Nope. So HJK, go over our node, and then drop. Oh, great. All right, there we go. And it bounces just as expected. Now 50, I don't know what 50 does. You're going to have to experiment. Because I think 100 should probably bring you back to where you started. But I don't know. So that was the correctly defined group attribute for bouncy. So that is how you would add a group. And then, of course, for you, you'd need to add 2 more. And you'll put a comma and then down, add more attributes down below, or other groups down below. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you next time.